Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today as we are picking up on a new trial, upcoming trial. It's coming up January 5th, and we're going to kind of do a little deep dive on this. Trial TV. And just want to make sure everything's cool. So this is a disturbing case out of Carroll County, Georgia. Carroll County, Georgia. Let's find out. I'm not familiar with Carroll County. Let's see where Carroll County, Georgia is. For those in Georgia, I'm sure you know exactly where this is, but I have no idea where it is. So let's see. There's a Six Flags. Okay, so it is west of Atlanta. So let's see if we can show you this. Let me take us over here. Well, first of all, we'll go here. All right, so this is Georgia versus Patrick. So Sarah Patrick, I got to get her name, Sarah Grace Patrick. Sarah Grace Patrick is the defendant. She's only 17. Sarah Grace Patrick, 17 years old. Her mom, Kristin, and her stepdad, James, are the victims. Mom, Kristin, is 41. Stepdad, James, was, I should say, 45. So this happened February 20th of 2025. So we're coming up on a year since this happened. Kind of weird to say 2025, right? I'm like, wait a minute. No, but we're at the end of 2025. So this happened at the beginning of the year. So she's charged with 2 counts of, she basically shot them. So February 20th, Kristin and James, they were found shot inside their home in Carroll County, Georgia. The couple was discovered in their bedroom and they died of gunshot wounds. Now, I think it's a daughter. I'm not 100% sure. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was a daughter that found them. 5 years old. 5-year-old. I'm going to go with girl, but 5-year-old child. And then Sarah Grace Patrick was there as well. She contacted 911. Now, Kristin and James had been together about 10 years. They had a blended family, so they were bringing kids in from other outside previous relationships. They were active members within their church community. Authorities say there was no signs of break-in. There was nothing missing. So certainly wasn't a robbery gone bad or anything like that. And then several months after that, Sarah Grace Patrick was going on to TikTok. And she was posting all of these things about how she misses her mommy. And she was crying. And we'll see that as we go through today's stream. We'll see some of that footage and some of that. So she ultimately, it remained unsolved. So she turns herself in. She did voluntarily turn herself in on July 8th. So from February to July, she was free. She was 17 years old at the time of her arrest, and she's being charged as an adult. All right. You just heard Carrot Cake. Is she called True Crime Podcasters? Is that what it was? Okay. Thanks, Snowcat. Yeah. And it was a daughter. So I thought it was a girl, but yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Just so terrible. So terrible. So welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Grab a seat. Let me go to let me pull up this first of all. Let's see where Carroll County is. I don't know the exact address yet. We'll have to, as we get more into this. Let's see. Nope. I'm hoping I could. All right, I guess I can't do that. But anyway, okay, so here is. Why is it doing that? Hold on a sec. Why is it doing that? Okay. All right, so trying to expand that. All right. So here's Carroll County. All right, so just so you guys know, get your bearings. Okay, so there's Atlanta. Here's the east. This is the United States. Florida, Georgia, obviously, right? Alabama. So it's the southeast part of the United States. It's near Atlanta. And there's Carroll County over here. So it happened somewhere west of Atlanta. So, all right, so we got that. All right, so let me go back here. TikTok became really, really big during COVID. It's basically just all videos. That's all it is. It's just video. And the whole point of it is short form. You know, YouTube is more long form. Even Facebook has some videos. Well, it has a lot of videos, I should say. Instagram is more photos. But TikTok exploded during COVID because obviously people were in their homes and, they were trying to interact with each other, and it's all about short form video. So it's like 30 seconds, a minute. If it's over a minute, it's people bounce off of it. It's quick. It's like, and basically it started, or I remember it, people were, they were doing dancing. A lot of it had to do, you're lip syncing, you're dancing, you're being fun, you're goofing around. And that was my memory of it, how it just exploded. Chris, you're hooked on it. It could be hilarious. Missy, yeah, I prefer sticking with YouTube. My husband likes TikTok, but I would rather stick to longer content. Mary, you used to live in that area. Okay, you love TikTok. I personally don't have. Yeah, I'm leaving a midnight train to Georgia. Yeah, good one. YouTube has a lot of shorts now. Well, now they're called, that's what they're called, shorts. Yeah, and it used to be, I think now it's more than, it used to be like a minute. You couldn't, anything over a minute on YouTube, that wasn't considered a short. Now they've expanded it to 3 minutes. But yeah, now they call them shorts. Facebook has it. It's really funny because all these social media platforms have all kind of like, oh, hold on. I don't have my hug. I just noticed I wasn't up. All of these social media platforms are kind of joining. Well, they're all kind of becoming the same, right? So Facebook at first was just posts, Twitter was just posts and limited characters, right? You could only have limited characters, like whatever it was, 162, whatever it was, 180 characters. And then you had YouTube, came along with obviously videos, and then the TikTok came along. Instagram, was bought by Facebook, so they're kind of the same. So and then now you see, because TikTok got so big, now you're seeing YouTube with shorts, you're seeing Facebook with shorts. So everybody's kind of taking from each other and saying, well, that's really successful. I'm going to, put that into my platform. So, here's another, I don't think she was an influencer before, not like a Courtney Clenny or, Macy Lathers. She was not an influencer before, but after she allegedly shot her parents, she went on to TikTok and she was talking about how much she missed them and missed her mom or Mr. Mommy, and she was crying. And as Snowcatish said, she would call into true crime. I didn't realize that. But so then she kind of became. I don't know if it's a sensation is the right word. I'm not quite sure. We'll find out through some of these news reports, but she became bigger, bigger. Sherry, your 50-year-old son watches TikTok all the time. I like some of the recipes that are on there, so follow a few, but not as much as my son. Yeah, there are a lot of recipes, but they're quick. They're like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and we follow a lot of content creators on YouTube that will go to TikTok and they'll have like, these TikTok, some of these posts or some of these videos will have like 20, 30, 50, 100 million views. So these more established creators on YouTube, home cooks and professional cooks, they'll go and they'll take these recipes and they'll cook them and they'll show you, they'll break it down and they'll actually do like a 10 or 20 minute video on how to do it. So I think that's interesting. Hey, Shadow, good to see you. All right. Itty Bitty, you agree with Lily Wayne? You're too old for TikTok? Well, I would counter that to say you're never too old, right? Let's say you're never too old for anything. I'll go with that. That's my mentality. I'm never too old for anything. 10-second recipe. It's called water. Well, Gordon, what they do is they take a 20-minute recipe and they cut it down. It's all jump cuts. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like boil water is like literally a second. Throw in pasta, a second. Make red sauce, a second. Put it together. There's your 5-second video. Boom, boom, boom. It's like it's really quick. So it all has to do with editing. It all has to do with editing. So, all right. All right, let's get to it. As we always do, as you guys know what we do here, we're going to go from news reports, first being introduced, or first the incident first happening, and then we'll get to her final, the final hearing. There was a pretrial hearing just a couple days ago, the 16th. It was her final pretrial hearing. So we'll check that out. So we're going to go from news of this happening all the way to her final pretrial hearing. So I don't know anything about this. Some of our mods brought this to our attention. Definitely thank you, mods, for finding this, and let's check it out together. Because this is going to be January 5th, I believe. And since Ian Mitchum is put on hold, right? They're not going to stream that anymore. So this is our next big trial. For better or for worse, this is going to be our next big trial. So here we go. Let me put some. Okay.
Are still looking for the person or people responsible for gunning down a couple inside their Carrollton home. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says deputies found the husband and wife early Thursday morning. Our Chase Howell is in the newsroom tonight after talking with the couple's family. And Chase, there were actually kids inside the house when all of this happened. Do they have any idea here why someone would do this?
They don't. I mean, there was nothing taken from the home. There wasn't any forced entry. And according to the family, they had no enemies.
It hurts to know that somebody would walk in their house and shoot them.
Held tight in Dennis and Linda's hands is a picture of Kristin and James Brock, the two found shot and killed in Carrollton early Thursday morning.
If it was of natural causes, you would maybe feel differently. But to go this way, it's really tough.
Dennis is Kristin's dad. He says his daughter and James have been together for close to 10 years and were raising 3 kids. The 5 and 16-year-old waking up to find both of them shot to death in their bed.
She went into the bedroom, and because she, I guess, assumed that my daughter Kristin would have been up by this time, and she went to wake her, and she grabbed her hand, and she said her hand was ice cold, and looked a little further and realized that she was deceased, and she dialed 911.
Dennis says this whole situation is bizarre. He says the two were extremely active in their church, and James was waiting for a heart transplant. And not just that, but nothing in the house was missing, and there were no signs of a break-in.
If there was something they wanted in the house, they could have taken it, and they probably would never woke up. But for some reason, they wanted them dead. And I want to know why.
Since the shooting, Carroll County deputies have been at the house nonstop, trying to piece together who killed Kristin and James.
He told me they're going to, if they have to turn over every blade of grass in the yard, they're going to do that to find something to go by.
Now, for those of you who may be just learning about this, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office has ruled out murder-suicide. So that means investigators believe the two were murdered. And right now, the Nolan family is offering up a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction. Cheryl?
Chase, thinking about the family tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, so that was from February 22nd of 2025. All right, so that was That's when it first happened. And Shadow, so what happened with the other trial, the Ian Mitchum trial, they've stopped streaming it. They left for the day. They left at lunchtime yesterday. They never came back, or they didn't stream it. That was 2 days ago. They didn't stream yesterday. So they essentially, they've stopped streaming because of the inconsistent schedule. And so the local channels are going to pick it up as it gets closer to the verdict. So for all intents and purposes, that trial's on the shelf. We'll pick up on it again when they come back online. We'll pick up on it again. But for now, we've got this trial starting beginning of January, and we're gonna be full on with this one. I don't know how long it's going to last. Hopefully, we'll find that out in some of the pretrial hearings, maybe. But for now, Ian Mitchum is put on hold. As far as streaming, it's there's nothing to stream. They're not broadcasting it. So we turn our attention to another trial, and this one just happens to be starting in right after the holidays. So we're fully on board. All right, so here's the next news segment, and we'll just kind of progress with the news until we get to some pretrial information.
Kristin and James Brock.
And some of it might be repetitive, like they interviewed the I guess Kristin's parents a couple times, so some of it might be a little repetitive here and there, but it's all good. Just hang in there with me.
Kristin and James Brock's families, they are grieving this morning after they were a couple shot inside their home. We spoke to Kristin's father, who says that they were together for almost 10 years and were raising 3 kids. He also tells us nothing was inside the house, nothing was missing, and there was no signs of break-in when they were killed.
If there was something they wanted in the house, they could have taken it, and they probably would never woke up. But for some reason, they wanted them dead. And I want to know why.
Since the shooting, Carroll County deputies have been at the house nonstop, really trying to piece together who killed this couple.
He told me they're going to, if they have to turn over every blade of grass in the yard, they're going to do that to find something to go by.
Right now, the Nolan family is offering up a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction.
All right. Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea who did this yet. We have to see where the evidence takes us. It doesn't. I really don't know anything about this case other than what I'm discovering with you guys. So let's keep an open mind, and let's just see where the evidence goes. Here's a news clip of the family offering an award. A reward, I should say, not an award, a reward. Yeah, James seems like a goofy guy. There's a picture. I actually went to Kristin's Facebook page yesterday, and there's a picture of him like sticking his tongue out, or like he's just being goofy with the eyes, the googly eyes and stuff. He seems like a pretty silly guy. It's pretty, nice enough looking couple and pleasant looking,
Now at 4, a family of a murder.
All right. So now this is them offering an award, a reward.
Now at 4, a family of a murdered Carroll County couple now offering a reward for any information leading to the couple's killer.
Atlanta News First Yasmin Alston is live at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office with more on this case. Yasmina.
That's right. That family offering a $5,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest in the murder of James and Kristin Brock. They were sleeping in their bed when they were killed.
This is so horrendous. You just can't imagine that someone would come in and just take the life of 2 good people.
Sitting in his home, looking at pictures of his daughter, Dennis Nolan is still in disbelief.
And his first words were, Kristin and James are dead. And I just couldn't believe what he was saying.
Nolan's daughter, Kristin, and her husband, James Brock, were killed in their Carroll County home last Thursday from apparent gunshot wounds. As of Monday, their deaths remain a mystery.
Why would someone want to do that? And they didn't steal anything. There was nothing of value in the house. They weren't into drugs that I know of, that I'm aware of. And to get someone that mad at you to come into your bedroom and just cold-heartedly, murder, and don't understand. I need closure on it.
Nolan says Kristin and James were sleeping in their bed when their youngest daughter discovered their bodies at the home on Tyus Carrollton Road. This tragedy leaving the family devastated and desperate for answers. Nolan even offering a reward for information.
There are people out there who know. They need to come forward, and they can do it anonymously, and they can get a $5,000 reward and get this person off the streets.
Nolan held back tears as he scrolled through his last text messages with his daughter. One of them was Kristin saying she loved him.
We were very, very close. She loved me with all her heart, and I did her.
And investigators say this is still a very active investigation. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Live in Carroll County, Yasmina Alston, Atlanta News First.
So sad. So sad, like you just don't, you just look for answers, right? When something like this happens, you're just always looking for answers, like just why? So, all right, so now that was February 24th. So we have February 20th this happened. We heard news from the 22nd, the 24th, and again the 24th. So now we're going to fast forward to July 8th. And this is all this year. This all happened this year. So it's very, very quick. Speedy trial, right? Speedy trial and all that. All right. Okay, so again, this is from, now we're going to July 8th.
A 17-year-old is now charged with murdering her mother and stepfather in Carrollton. Investigators say Sarah Grace Patrick is the one who killed James and Kristin Brock in their home in February. Channel 2's Candace McCowan is outside the jail where the teen who is being charged as an adult is being held now. Candace?
Yeah, and Wendy, this is tragic no matter how you look at it. From the couple's 5-year-old daughter who is said to have found their bodies to the 7 children that the couple had between the two of them and their combined family. Now those 7 children, each without one of their parents. And one of those children is now behind bars here at the Carroll County Jail, charged with the murders.
The beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. From the very moment the 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began.
And it is the person who called 911 who is now charged with the shooting deaths of James and Kristin Brock in their home on Carrollton Tyus Road in February. 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick is now charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and stepfather.
She turned herself in because we notified her she had warrants for her arrest.
Investigators say the evidence led them to charging the teen, including the speech of Sarah speaking at her mother and stepfather's funeral that's posted on Facebook.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people.
And they say it's part of her covering up what happened.
Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that.
And while there's been a more than 4.5-month wait for an arrest, investigators say it took time to build the case.
Don't you want the right person arrested? So that's why it takes so long. These diligent investigators took their time. We've got the person that we believe orchestrated this and committed this horrific crime.
And I asked investigators today if there had been any prior calls with law enforcement to that house between the teen and her mother and stepfather. They said that there had not been any. They are still working to figure out exactly the motive here. For now, live here outside the Carroll County Jail, I'm Candace McCowan for Channel 2 Action News.
All right. So let me see. I found her. Let me pull up her Instagram. I found this last night. There was just a few pictures, which is really weird. I thought there would be. All right. So here's her. Here's a few photos from her Instagram. All right, let's see. So again, she only had 4 photos on her Instagram page. So there's her Instagram, 4 posts. She's got 1,225 followers. She's following 369 folks. So that's her Instagram page, and yeah, who knows what. Well, who knows what happened? We'll have to find out the evidence, but okay. All right, now we heard that little news clip about the arrest. Now we're going to watch the entire news conference. It's about 9 minutes or so. So I want to hear. Maybe they'll give us some more details.
So, all
right. So here's the news conference.
So, as you all remember, I recognize many of you in this room that did come out on the scene that fateful day on February 20th. On the morning of February 20th, 2025, deputies with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to a tragic scene at 1531 Carrollton Tyus Road. They discovered the bodies of James Brock, 45, and Kristin Brock, 41, both deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. From the very moment the 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began, one that would span months, consume thousands of man-hours, and require the full weight of the local and federal law enforcement agency partnerships. Today, we can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristin Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and her stepfather. While the case has not remained in the public spotlight in recent months, the investigation has never gone silent. Led by investigator TJ Repetto, our team has pursued every lead, sifted through mountains of physical and digital evidence, conducted countless interviews, and collaborated with agencies such as the FBI, the GBI Crime Lab, and private forensic laboratories. In a world where television portrays crimes being solved in under an hour, the truth here is much more complex. Real justice takes time. Time to ensure that no detail is overlooked and no stone is not turned over. Sheriff Terry Langley, alongside Captain Guy Pope and Lieutenant Jackson Lawrence, has remained committed to ensuring that justice is served in this heartbreaking case. Their leadership, combined with the tireless dedication of our investigators, has brought us to this point today. We know the public has been eager for answers, and we want to be clear. So have we. But bringing forth the truth responsibly and thoroughly is our highest obligation. We are proud of the unwavering commitment shown by every member of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and we stand behind the process that has led us here today. Our prayers remain with the families of James and Kristin Brock, and especially with their young daughter who was home during this horrific crime. We also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to the community that has rallied for justice and has never given up hope. The pursuit of justice does not end today, however. It is very possible, because this remains an open and ongoing investigation, that more arrests and charges could be made. So with that, I will open this up to questions.
Has she been charged as an adult?
She has.
And any idea what her motive was when she gave the confession?
We are still working with her diligently. Our investigators have been speaking with her.
It is correct that she was the one who made the 911 call, correct?
Yes.
At what point did investigators begin to focus on her as the suspect?
So I believe in the beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. I think I told many of you that when we were on scene that day. However, as an investigation continues and everything ebbs and flows, like I said in my press release, mountains of evidence has gotten us through here today. Lots of processing, lots of working with our law enforcement partners to get us to where we are today that honed in on her as a suspect.
Do you believe that she tried to cover this up in any way over the course of these months? You know, we've even seen videos on social media of somebody saying, you know, I'm making this message on behalf of the daughter, do you believe she tried to get people to cover up anything?
Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that. But she has been arrested and charged now, and we feel confident that she is responsible for their murders. But like I said, it is an open, ongoing investigation. It's very possible others are involved as well.
What was the key break in the case?
Just evidence, being able to go through evidence, being able to use private laboratories, being able to use GBI Crime Lab. You know, when you're processing stuff, like I said, it doesn't come back in an hour. So we've been filtering through, and there's still evidence left to process.
You noted the visual evidence. I assume that's text messages, emails. Was there some type of a trail that led you that way?
There's always a lot of evidence. I won't go into exactly what it is because it is an open, ongoing investigation, but we have mountains of evidence.
What about the social media and TikTok, that type of stuff? Any of that going to be used?
That will be up to the prosecuting attorney, and they'll work diligently with our investigators to make the case go forward towards trial or whatever they decide to do.
Was that the younger daughter, the youngest child that found them?
I believe that, and you speak to this, Kim, the smallest daughter found them that morning, correct? And then she came and told Sarah, and then Sarah made the 911 call.
Where was Sarah?
Sarah was in the home.
No, I mean, in the interim. Where was she staying? Who was she living with?
She's 17. She's kind of been out on her own.
Was she out on her own at the time?
No, she lived at home with her mother and stepfather at that time. But since then, she's lived with different family members and kind of moved all over the place.
Did she turn herself in?
Yes, she did turn herself in this morning.
Do you believe that any of the other family members knew about this?
Hard to tell. I can say this, that everybody that we have talked to through the course of the investigation, that are family members, have been nothing but cooperative. Anything else?
Did you do anything after the murder during the investigation that you guys will use in your
Like I said, we're still kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, but I can tell you what led us here today, and that's the evidence that Sarah killed her parents.
Did she say why she turned herself in?
She turned herself in because we notified her she had warrants for her arrest.
Did she have any previous charges, any previous calls to that house regarding?
Not that I'm aware of, not regarding her, not that I'm aware of.
Did she seem remorseful?
I have not been personally with her or interviewed her, so I could not answer that question.
Though it's a shock to her family as well, did you get any kind of, were they shocked as well, surprising?
Like I said, her family's been very cooperative. I can't imagine as a parent her father brought her up here this morning, she turned herself in. I can't imagine what he's going through, so my heart goes out to him as well.
You talked about the family. I know they've been trying their best to keep this in the courtroom.
Yes.
I know you guys are working behind the scenes.
Yes.
I guess it takes, especially for a case this big, it takes a lot of time to make sure the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And
yes.
You speak to that because they've been seeming like on social media that they were frustrated, but it takes a lot.
Yeah, and we understand. I mean, if you don't work in the law enforcement field, like I said, CSI's kind of tainted us where, hey, something happens, it's done in an hour. This is not the case. I mean, and not only that, don't you want the right person arrested? So that's why it takes so long. These diligent investigators took their time. We've got the person that we believe orchestrated this and committed this horrific crime, and that was played through the part of evidence, and that's not something that's processed overnight.
Do you know where the weapon was obtained from?
I can't speak to that right now. Still investigation. Say that again?
The younger child, how old is she?
She is 6 years old now.
Do that custody of her?
She's staying with family.
Can you speak to like just how heinous this is?
Oh, it's absolutely a shock to our community. Carroll County is a great community. We very rarely have stranger-on-stranger crime here, so I would like to say that we're not a dangerous community. I know that the Tice community that this happened in, those neighbors were really up in arms, as they should have been. Like I said, this has been a process to get us to where we're at today, but we don't know what goes through the mind of a child who wants to harm their parents. So that I can't answer right now, but it is a very horrific and sad case.
Was there any evidence of any type of, I don't want to say abuse, but challenges in the home?
Still an ongoing investigation.
And for anybody, who worked on this case, I don't know if there's ever been any other case like this in any of your careers, or if this is one of a few, but just when the facts, as you say, lead you to this conclusion, is it difficult, or what is that like just as a human, kind of when you follow the facts?
anytime you work a case where somebody's life has been cut short, James is a special case because I believe, according to his family, he had a lot of heart trouble. He'd had numerous heart surgeries. I believe he may have been waiting on a heart transplant at some point. And to have his life cut short when he was given so many opportunities to live, to me, that's a big takeaway from this story, and that a mother and a stepfather will never be able to raise their children and the little girl that was in the home. To me, she's probably the saddest victim in all of this.
You did mention she didn't turn herself in. You said she was turned in with her father.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. I'll be around after. If you have any additional questions, I will send you. If you will give me a business card, I'll be happy to provide you with my press release and the mugshot. Just let me know if there's anything additional after this that you may need. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming out.
All right, that's interesting. Super Bowl, you have to move. Yeah, you just have to move. I got a stream here I got to work on. All right, I wanted to show this. Actually, one more thing, and then I want to show. Okay, so that was from July 8th of this year. Again, everything is this year. It's so rare that we cover something that happened this year. It's always, a year, 2, 3 years ago. All right, so now we're going to fast forward to July 16th. So this is another quick news clip. A quick news clip. So this is the family blaming her.
So for the first time tonight.
So this is the family. See what this is about. Yeah, Super Bowl's like right where here. Well, look. See, I'm trying to work, and she's like right there. Hey, giddy.
Tonight, we are hearing from the family of Jamie Brock. That's the man authorities say was allegedly shot and killed by his stepdaughter in Carroll County.
Along with Brock, 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick is also accused of killing her own mother, Kristin Brock. Our Chase Howell has been on this story from the very beginning and asked the question on everyone's mind here: why would this girl want to allegedly kill her mother and stepfather?
Family of Jamie Brock say this is Oscar-worthy acting by his stepdaughter, Sarah Patrick.
It's weird. And the TikToks kept getting more weird as time went by.
Kristin Dowda is Brock's niece. She says she always suspected Patrick of killing Brock and her own mother, Kristin, in February. Why do you think she allegedly did this? I mean, why would this 16-year-old girl who people have said it was a sweet, kind, in your own words, a sweet, kind girl, despite what Jamie told you over the phone, would want to kill her mother and her stepfather?
Anybody that's ever been a teenager, you know that you get mad at your parents and you don't like what they say, and maybe they were too strict, and maybe that's what she thought. But anybody that's ever been in that situation and you've been mad at your parents, what you didn't do is you didn't kill them.
And while Dowda won't speculate on a motive, she thinks it is possible Patrick didn't act alone. But as of Wednesday, no other arrests have been made. Reporting, Chase Howell, 11 Alive News.
We did reach out to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office for an update on its investigation, but as of now, there is no new information. Ahead tonight at 6, Chase addresses allegations that have been made against the Brock family.
Wow, she may not have acted alone. Wow, she may not have acted alone. Can you imagine? All right. So, okay, Shirley, yeah, that's her. All right, now I found this. I'm not going to play this entire thing because this is law and crime, and I want to show just the beginning part of her. You're going to see her.
I have more to tell.
All right.
You regarding the teen girl who was arrested this week for allegedly killing her mom and stepdad in Georgia in February. Her name is Sarah Grace Patrick, and she didn't just post on TikTok mourning the loss of her parents, she did a lot more.
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives?
It turns out she also reached out to several crime creators on TikTok, encouraging them to look into the case. One of those creators is going to join me to talk about what Sarah Grace Patrick told her and the chilling comments she left on her account that you just have to see. We're on the case presented by Law.
All right, so that's interesting. So she reached out, you guys were saying she reached out to here, let me play this part. She reached out to other true crime content creators. Now let's go here. Her account was deleted. Erin's saying her account was deleted. She's a TikTok gal. Her account was deleted.
Deputies and is now accused and charged in those murders. She is now 17 years old, and deputies say that she killed her mom and stepdad by shooting them as they lay in their beds in the middle of the night on February 20th. Now, Sarah Grace was also the one who called 911, and not only that, she says that her then 5-year-old sister found her parents, Kristin and James Brock, shot dead. Just think about that. Sarah Grace also claims that it was her little sister who then alerted her, and then she alerted the authorities. But now we know that was allegedly a lie. Sarah Grace posted this on TikTok saying the loss of her parents hit her when, quote, "I see my 5-year-old sister screaming, crying for her mommy and daddy." I can't say it enough. Sarah Grace is the one who is now charged and accused of being the person who killed that little girl's mom and dad. Sarah has also posted about needing help with her mental health and needing to call a hotline for that and being depressed. So we are working to learn more about her mental health history as that part of the case carries on. But before I get you caught up on the social media part of this story, and that is a huge part of this story, I want you to know about the victims, James and Kristin Brock. And from what we have seen, members of their community loved them. Their family loved them. They loved their faith. They were avid churchgoers in Carrollton, Georgia, a small, quiet town where stuff like this rarely happens. James and Kristin, they were a blended family as well. They were parents to that young little girl and the mom and stepdad to Sarah Grace Patrick. In the days, weeks, and months after the murders, Sarah was very vocal on social media, specifically on TikTok. She posted these videos, montages within days of the murders, memorializing her parents. This one says that she sleeps so she can see her mom, Kristin, who she allegedly killed. Other images show her crying with makeup running down her face, asking how someone could take her mom and stepdad away, people who she loved so much. She was a regular commenter also on posts and stories related to the murders that she allegedly committed, accepting plenty of thoughts and prayers. You can see on this one, she replies less than a month after she allegedly killed her parents with, quote, "I love you, thank you." On top of that, Sarah Grace spoke at her parents' funeral at their church. This is per WSB TV.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people.
But we have found it goes deeper than that. She appears to have taken the initiative to reach out to TikTokers who cover true crime, encouraging them to research, report, and talk about the murders that she is now accused of committing, as if she was someone looking for justice for her parents.
Y'all, this is Sarah Grace, and she messaged me back on June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case.
This is the account called Allegedly Reportedly. It has more than 130.
All right, we'll stop there because I don't want to get in trouble or anything. But yeah, so that's interesting. That's some good background. Hey, Katrina, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Chris seems her motive was getting attention. Maybe. Amy, Erin Caffey. I don't know the Erin Caffey. I'm not familiar with that. All right, Susie, go cook. Go cook and lurk. Iowa backyard attention seeking much? Kind of seems like that. Does that makeup look smeared? I know, right? Let me see if I can. We'll go back to it. I mean, well, here's an interesting thing. Like, we've all had like tremendous heartbreak, right? we've all lost somebody who we care dearly about. Maybe not in that manner, but we've lost people that, we ugly cry. And maybe I grew up in a world where I don't want to show that. Like I would never have that confidence. Now, I'm not putting her down at all for doing this. It is what it is. I'm just saying I would never publicly post that, looking like that, showing myself wide open like that. I just wouldn't do that. So I'm just interested in people that do that. That she feels, I don't know, does she feel comfortable enough in her sorrow that she's able to do that in front of potentially millions and millions of people that could see this? Is it something different? Is there a mental thing going on? Does she feel, you know what I'm saying? Does she feel comfortable enough in her grief that she can do that? Or is there something going on with her that she needs help psychologically? Like I just never would do that. So I'm interested in the mental, like what is it that somebody would do this where potentially millions and millions of people are going to see this and then comment on it like we are. Like we're commenting on this for good or for bad, for better or for worse. We're commenting on this. Is it a performance? Is this true and raw feelings? What is it? So, yeah, couldn't do that either. Let's see. Sharon, yep, you agree with that. Jenny Lynn, Being Charlie. Oh, you had to go watch Being Charlie real quick. All right. Yeah, I want to check that out too. Alice, I couldn't do that either. I just don't know, Last time you had mascara like that, you were dressed up. Like I just would never show people that side of me. You know what I'm saying? Iowa, the question to me would be, is this how the video began or did the makeup mess occur during? Yeah, that I don't know. Lily Wayne says she's attention seeking. Generational thing. For sure, yeah. Who doesn't wipe their eyes when they cry? Widespread panic. Amy Lee, I'm too private, can't imagine. JMS, I couldn't either. Jenny Lynn, youth, young adults today all have this pull to tell your entire life story and more on platforms, right? Pammy agrees. She's trying for an Oscar nomination, Katrina says. CL3 says, last time I saw makeup like that is when I broke up with my 6th grade girlfriend. All right. Jenny Lynn, I tend to keep all my sorrows to myself for the most part. I only tell when asked. I mean, I'm not saying I don't ugly cry. I mean, I've done it. We all do it. And if you don't, I would suggest it's very cathartic to just let it all hang out like that. But to do it in such a public format, like it's one thing if you're at a funeral and you're crying with your friends and family and all that stuff. That's one thing because there's a support group, right? It's an immediate thing. It's a support group. It's another thing to sit there and look at yourself because you're looking at yourself. Like right now, I can totally look at myself while I'm talking. It's not like I can't. So it's like you're looking at yourself while you're doing this. You see that you're a complete and total mess. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Instead of composing yourself, feeling sad and be like, wow, I really miss my parents. And again, this is just me. I'm not speaking for anybody else. It's one thing to go on and say, hey, I really miss my parents, but it's a whole nother thing to do it in this way. So just wondering what's going on behind those eyeballs. Jenny Lynn, it's very rare that you cry, maybe 1 or 2 times a year. Ugly cry, though, 2022 was the last. Lazy, what's the age? 17. She's 17. Because don't forget, this just happened. She was 17 when this happened, so this presumably is weeks after. I don't know the exact date of when this happened, but our parents were February 20th, 2025, so March, maybe? So, all right. Widespread. I haven't ugly cried since my head injury. I miss that release so much. Mallory, also repetitive. She posts over and over like this. See, then there's that. It felt like impression management. Gina says, Andriel, this is the generation of social media where they put every thought they've ever had on the internet for the world to see. Yep, good point. That's a good point. Missy, I cry easily, but I wouldn't record myself like that. Right? Sherry, in all my years, I have never wanted anyone to see me cry like that. I cried in front of the vet when we had to put the kitten down and was embarrassed that he saw me like that. Yeah. It is a generational thing. I mean, we can come into this trial with that in mind, that it is a generational thing, and this generation's way of getting support, finding support. Is it that they, this is, and I can understand that everything is viewed through a phone. Their whole life is viewed through a phone and a filter of social media. So this is their way of trying to connect with the world. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Vets are probably used to seeing people cry when a pet is put down. Yeah, Adriel, I'm sure. Radioactive, you cry when your grandkids are hurting. I know. I'm sure. JMS, seems like she had everything ready to go immediately on TikTok. It's a little suspicious. I mean, you have to look at it that way. Camille says, I cry so much in front of the vet when he had to put Oreo down. I know. That's tough. Okay. All right, let's all right, so that now that we can kind of see where what she was doing. Now let's get to a hearing. So this is a bond hearing. This is an hour and 43 minutes. This was August 19th. So this was August 19th, and this is a bond hearing. And I think this gets pretty emotional too. I think this is when friends and family
probably have available to you.
Friends and family get up and they talk, and she's a mess as well. I think this is pretty emotional. All right, so let's check this out. So this is August. Here, let me put this in. This is August 19th. So this is bond hearing. August 19th. So we'll post that there. Okay.
Hightower presiding. Good morning. Y'all may be seated.
I appreciate the attorneys working with me. The request for bond, I believe, was done on July 11th, and I was in compliance with getting that scheduled in the time frame that was necessary. But because of some surrounding factors, I believe both the state and defense agreed to put that out to this day and was allowed me to specially set it so that we could accommodate a little more of the public and actually have an open courtroom that could account for everyone. So I appreciate both sides, state and defense, working with me with rescheduling that and placing it on for today. I do want to start. I know that this is a case of great interest to a lot of people, and I do know that we have media in the courtroom. But I want to remind everyone in the gallery that this is not daytime court TV, and this is not for entertainment. We're here to simply apply the law to this motion for bond, and that's my job, to simply listen to both sides and apply the law fairly and justly, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. If anyone chooses to act out, this is your only warning. I will hold you in contempt because we will keep an orderly courtroom. So as long as everybody follows those rules, we'll be perfectly fine, and we'll get through this easily and safely, and we'll get it done. With that, defense, you have made a motion for bond. It's your motion. Are y'all ready to proceed?
We are ready, Your Honor.
All right, state, are y'all ready as well? All right, defense. I'm motioning for them. They're going to grab her. Yep. Did y'all need to approach about anything before we get started?
No.
Okay. media, what I did is I just followed my rule. The first to send in a Rule 22 is the media that got to place their camera in the courtroom. That was Court TV, I believe. They know how to pull. The order's been out there. They should have everything and accommodate everyone with getting you all that you need, because that's the rules. And I've been assured they know how to do that and will accommodate all other media outlets for what you need. All right. All right. Dustin, you ready? All right, this is State of Georgia versus Sarah Grace Patrick. Again, defense, this is your motion. On your motion for bond, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor.
And State, you ready as well? All right, defense, this is your motion, so whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to call Ben Bonner as my first witness.
All right, have Mr. Bonner, please.
Please step out in the hallway. There was no room for
That's fine. If we can announce for Mr. Bonner. Yes, sir. If you'll come around and come up here, if you'll remain standing and just raise your right hand when you get up here, okay? You remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements you give before the court today to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, sir. All right, you may be seated. If you would, just slide that mic closer to you when you sit down and just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Bonner.
Good morning.
Or should I say pastor?
Just Ben.
Just Ben. All right. Where do you work?
I'm lead pastor at Catalyst Church, Carrollton, Georgia.
That's here in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
About how far is it from this location?
113, couple miles. I'm geographically challenged, not my gift, but 2 to 4 miles,
Okay.
I guess.
About how many minutes would you think?
From here, it depends on the time of day, 5 to 10.
All right, 5 to 10 minutes, so not very far.
No, ma'am.
How long have you been the pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton?
We started Catalyst in 2017, so since the beginning, I was one of the founding pastors.
And do you have services every week?
Every week. Yes,
What days are those services on?
We have 2 services on Sunday, 9 and 10:30.
Now, in relation to this case, were you asked to write a letter about Sarah's character?
Yes, I was asked to write a letter. Well, I honestly offered anything I could do to help any of the family. I want to be a support.
May I approach her?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Defense Bond Exhibit 2. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I actually brought a copy, so in case I need to read it.
Is that your letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anything been altered or deleted from it?
No.
Okay. Defense seeks to tender Defense Bond Exhibit 2 in evidence.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Pastor, would you read that letter that you prepared?
Yes. To Honorable Judge, my name is Ben Bonner, and I serve as lead pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton, Georgia. I'm writing on behalf of Sarah Grace Patrick, a young woman who's been a part of our church family for about a year now. Sarah Grace first came to Catalyst around a year ago. From the beginning, she was eager to grow in her faith and get involved. She made a personal decision to be baptized not long after attending, and has stayed consistently connected to the church ever since. She didn't just show up on Sundays. She came during the week as well, asked questions, served, invited others, including her boyfriend at the time, and clearly found a place where she felt at home. Throughout the past year, and even through the challenges of this year, she has continued to attend services regularly. She and her family often travel over an hour just to be with us. I've spoken and prayed with Sarah Grace many times throughout this season. Her commitment to staying grounded in her faith and connected to a healthy community has remained steady. She's even called from jail multiple times so I could pray with her. Her father has also become an active part of the church. He was baptized recently, and he still comes to services faithfully. It's a privilege to walk with their family during such a difficult time, and we love and care for them deeply. If it's possible and the court sees fit to grant Sarah Grace bond, we would gladly continue to walk alongside her as a church. We believe having her with her family and church community is an important part of her support system. We're committed to loving her well, encouraging her, and helping her continue on a positive path. Thank you for your time considering this. Sincerely, Ben Bonner.
Thank you. Pastor, are there other members of your church or congregation here in the courtroom with us, or are you in the hallway?
They're in the hallway. I brought a few staff, and then there's some other church families spread out that were connected to Kristin, James, Sarah Grace, all the family, which they brought to the church.
Okay. Now, you said that Sarah and her family came back in August of last year. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When they came, were they just attending, or were they further engaged in activities at the church?
No, they the entire family, James, Kristin, Sarah Grace, they jumped right in. That's why it's hard. They became very, very beloved between August and February. I mean, our church family adores all of them, everybody, and we're for the entire family. So.
Okay. And Sarah, specifically as it relates to Sarah Grace, was she involved or engaged in other programs throughout the church other than attending Sunday services?
Yes, the entire family in multiple teams. The entire family in multiple teams, from cleaning to kids ministry. There was I have a staff now, so a lot of team leaders. The church looks a lot different the last several years with growth, but they were engaged in multiple teams. And if you ever need me to give a list, because I don't want to misspeak, I could get an actual list of all the things the family and Sarah Grace were engaged in.
But it's just safe to say they were involved in more than just Sunday service.
Yes, they were there in the week. They were there during the week, not just on Sundays helping.
All right. Now, you said in your letter that family still comes over an hour to come to your church on Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you referencing DJ?
DJ, yes. DJ, and then DJ Junior, little DJ. And everybody still comes except, of course, Jaylee, because she lives away with her grandmother. That's a long drive. But they all actively come and consistently. Even now that Sarah Grace hasn't been able to come, they continue to come consistently.
And just for clarity, who is DJ?
Sarah Grace's father. Thank you. I want to make sure I'm clear.
No problem. Now, you indicated that you would do whatever in your letter to help in this regard with Sarah. Have you facilitated people at the court's instruction before? Over the years, multiple times, I have come to this room a couple of times and offered to facilitate any way that would, if there's any way to make the court and you feel comfortable, we'll do anything we can to facilitate. We just want to help. Y'all have a great calling. Ours is to support and love. Y'all are the jury and the judges, and so anything we can do, we're willing to help. To make that happen. And coming to a close here, you indicated that Sarah still calls you while she's been incarcerated. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. And when you have conversations with Sarah, are the substance of those conversations about do you believe me or anything like that? Two things she calls. It's been two things every time. One is to thank me. Thank me for everything, and it's particularly for her dad. He's just engaged. He's growing. He's really growing his relationship with God. I can never make sense of tragedies like this. It's terrible what everybody's been through, but watching Beauty for Ashes and seeing DJ love the Lord and engage in his faith is beautiful. So she'll call me first. He came to the altar a couple times. We've been able to pray with him recently. So there's victories that she'll call and thank me and then ask me to pray for her. And she's actually reading some books that were recommended to her that changed my mother's life. My mother was a pretty rough addict, and those books vicariously through her changed mine. And so she's reading them, and so she'll talk to me about that. So it's three things: prayer, thankfulness, and what she's reading. All right, that's all I have for you, Ben. The state may have some questions for you.
Okay, thanks. State?
I don't have any questions for you, Pastor. Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all. Pastor Bonner, you've testified, so you're welcome to stay in the courtroom unless y'all think there's any other reason for him to stay.
He can be excused as far as the state's concerned.
All right, then you can remain in the courtroom if there's room.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Defense now calls Katie O'Keefe.
Katie O'Keefe. Ma'am, if you'll come up, just remain standing, raise your right hand once you're for me. All right, if you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Maybe sit. If you would, just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone.
Yes,
okay? Thank you.
All right. Is it okay if I call you Katie?
Yeah, I prefer it.
Okay. All right, Katie. How do you know Sarah Grace?
Can we? You need that spelling. Okay.
My name's actually Caitlin.
Could you state your name?
My name's Caitlin O'Keefe, Kaitlin, O''Keefe.
All right. How do you know Sarah Grace?
I met Sarah about 3 days after all this happened with her mom and dad.
And how did you come to meet her?
I was friends with her dad. We used to play cell phone games. He told me what happened. Told me that the kids didn't have any clothes. Since the house was closed off, they didn't have anything. So I've taken in a child or two in my time. So my heart broke for it, and I was like, please let me take her shopping. So I came and picked Sarah up and took her to get clothes, underwear, deodorant, your basics.
And since that time, so would that have been a date?
It was February 23rd or 4th, I believe, yeah.
And since that time, did you continue a relationship with Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah actually ended up moving in with me. It was a better situation for her. I had an extra bedroom. She came to stay with me after everything happened with her mom. She used to lay in the bed. She would cry and sob, and I'd watch her grieve.
Did you have any disciplinary problems or any type of issues with Sarah while she was at your house?
Not even one, honestly. I've had some teenagers, and one that gave me a hard time, and Sarah was a pleasure. She was easy.
Do you still have a friendship or any type of relationship with other members of Sarah's family?
Yes, I talked to her grandma, grandpa, her dad, and little brother live with me. I talk to Sarah every day.
So since she's been incarcerated, you've spoken to her?
Every day.
Every day. And do you all pray together as Pastor Ben indicated or anything like that?
Every day. You can't stop her from praying.
Now, are you aware if at any time during her stay with you, did she have a driver's license?
No, she had her permit, and we would go practice driving. She wasn't ready to get the license yet. She was not ready.
Safer for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. And does she have access to her own personal vehicle that you know of?
No.
During the time that she was with you, was she attending school?
She actually worked really hard and graduated a year early.
Where was she attending?
She was going to Central here in Carrollton.
And you said she graduated early. What do you mean by that?
And she worked hard. She was on track to graduate early before all this happened. But I mean, even after this happened, there were some rough times. But when we found a peaceful moment, I'd be like, let's get your schoolwork done. Let's make your mom proud by showing her you finished this. And that was a big goal for Sarah.
And do you know how old Sarah is?
She's 17.
Did you know, or during the time that she was with you, did she have a job?
She did. She worked down the street at a local restaurant.
And do you know if there were any problems that you are aware of at the restaurant?
No, they loved her. They still love her. They ask about her all the time when I go up there.
believe that's all I have for you. I don't know, the state may have some questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. State, any questions?
I think I have just one for clarification. You did not know the defendant prior to the shooting, is that right?
No.
It's after? That was
After.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Thank you. Can you follow up?
No.
All right. Can this witness be excused?
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe excused, please. You can remain in the court. Okay. Neither of you asked for sequestration. It's not really necessary here, but y'all are good.
I'm good, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
We call Carrie Jensen.
Carrie Jensen. All right, Ms. Jensen, same as the others. If you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirming statements made before the court today to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, if you'll be seated, speak loudly and clearly, and let's just start off by stating your name and spelling it for us so the court reporter can get that down.
Carrie Jensen, Carriejensen.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Jensen. How do you know Sarah?
I met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. Her and my daughter became best friends, and I became really good friends with her father and stepmother at the time.
Okay. And so you've known her since 7th grade. How old is that?
13, 12.
Okay. And during that time, have you known Sarah Grace to cause you any problems or get into any mischief with your daughter or anything like that?
Not at all. I mean, they'd fight over boys. But no, she's been an angel.
Just typical teenager stuff.
Typical teenager stuff.
Now, during the course of this case, were you asked to, or did you offer to write a letter in support of Sarah?
I sure did.
May I approach her?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you, Carrie, what's been marked as Defensive Bond Exhibit 7. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay. And what is it?
It's my letter to Judge Hightower.
And has it been changed or altered or any deletions or additions in any way?
No.
Seek to admit Defense Bond Exhibit 7.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry for the numbers being a little off. I didn't know who would be here. Who would be here.
It's all right.
All right. Would you read your letter for the court?
Sure. Dear Judge Hightower, my name is Carrie Jensen, and I'm writing this letter on behalf of Sarah Grace. I first met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. She and my daughter attended the same middle school, and her stepsister played softball with my daughter. Our families quickly grew close. Sarah would spend weekends at our house, and my daughter Caitlin would do the same at theirs. We've shared camping trips together and weekends at West Point, creating strong bonds between our families. They have been best friends since. At the time, Donald and Kristin were in the middle of a custody battle. When I first met Sarah, she was a little shy, very sweet, kind, and humble. She was cautious around new people, but soon she warmed up to me and once told me I had a motherly presence that made her feel safe. As our relationship grew, she began to open up to me about her past and experiences with Kristin and James. One thing she said that has always stayed with me was, no matter what they've done, I will always forgive them and love them, because deep down, I know that's not who they truly are. The statement showed the depth of Sarah's heart. She truly believes in forgiveness and has always extended the same grace to others. She once told me that holding grudges isn't what God wants for us, and I've carried that wisdom with me ever since. While staying at our house, Sarah was full of life, happy, upbeat, and in many ways a typical teenager. But there were also signs of trauma she endured. She would often apologize for things she never had to. Like she would asking for food, taking a shower, or using the bathroom. It was heartbreaking. Despite that, she remained incredibly kind, respectful, and especially patient with my son, who is on the autism spectrum and is the same age as Sarah. She was fiercely protective of him and everyone she cared about. Sarah has a huge heart. She is loving, protective, and deeply rooted in her faith. She has always expressed She has always expressed a strong desire to work in the radiology field and has never been afraid of hard work. Hurting someone simply isn't in her nature or character. Over the years, I have held her through moments of deep pain and tears, and through it all, her love to her family, especially her siblings, Jaylee and Donnie, has remained unwavering. She would never do anything to harm them. She wants only to protect them. I respectfully ask that you consider granting Sarah Grace bond. She is not a threat to anyone. She is deeply loved and supported by my family, by me, and her own family. I truly believe she deserves a chance to be home, surrounded by those who care about her. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that she deserves to be home, in your opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
And would you agree, or you can disagree with me, that you would be a part of her village if she were home?
Absolutely.
And what would that entail?
Whatever she needed. If she needed a place to stay, she can stay in our house. She needed rides. Me, my daughter, or my husband would be more than glad to take her anywhere she needed. Whatever she needed is at her disposal with us.
Thank you, Ms. Jensen. That's all I have, and if you'll hand that letter up to the judge.
Thank you.
Yes, and the state may have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
State, any questions?
A handful, Doug.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Michael Parrish. I'm representing the state in this case. You said that your daughter and the defendant went to school together. Is that right?
Yes, they did.
What school was that?
They went to East Coweta Middle.
Now, were you aware that at some point the defendant attended an alternative school?
Yes.
And what's that alternative school? How does that function?
I'm really not familiar with that. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Is that related to disciplinary issues as far as you understand?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You said you would be part of her village and that she could actually stay with you.
If need be.
Do you live here in Carrollton?
No, I live in Wadowee, Alabama.
Wadowee, Alabama?
Yeah.
So obviously. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Nothing further.
All right, any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
Not in the station.
All right, you may be released and you can stay in the courtroom.
Call Caitlin Jensen.
Come on, there you go. Raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements made before the court that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right. Now, you're going to have to speak up just a little bit. I know you're nervous. That's a big crowd. It's intimidating, okay? But I might be able to hear you. So when you sit down, speak clearly in that microphone. And look, you're here as a witness, so there's nothing to be afraid of. All right? So take your time. Take a deep breath. I'm not going to let anybody get too bad on you. All right? Okay. So grab a seat right there. And let's try it out with your name. All right, go say your name loudly and clearly, and then spell it for my court reporter.
My name is Caitlin Jensen, CAITLYNJENSEN.
All right, if you stay right there, we're going to be okay. If you go any lower, I'm going to have to tell you to pick it up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, Caitlin. How old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
And are you and Sarah friends?
Yes, ma'am.
And is Carol your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I heard your mom say that you guys went to school together. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
At East Coweta?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you gone to school together since then, or that was the last time you went to school together?
I'm going to say 9th grade. She started at East Coweta High School, and then she moved.
Is that when, do you know if that's when she moved with your mom?
I'm going to say yes.
Now, so that was 9th grade, but have you guys continued to be friends since then?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say friends, talk to me about what that looks like. Are you guys talking on the phone?
Via Snapchat sometimes. We would call, I'd check in on her. I was never allowed over at her house.
But she was allowed at your house?
Yes, ma'am, I'd go and get her.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
I would go and get her.
Okay, you would go and get her. So you have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
And we shouldn't be scared?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm a great driver.
Okay. Now, so you guys have kept in touch over the years, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you guys keep in touch, what sort of things do you do?
Well, usually I go and get her, and then we go to the gas station and get something to eat. It's an hour 30 drive back home, so we'd blast music like teenagers would do, going home. And we'd go home, and I have a 2-year-old son, and we would play with him for hours until he fell asleep. And then we'd watch movies.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Now, at any time have you, well, let me ask this. Have you talked to Sarah since she's been incarcerated?
I have.
And what have those conversations been like?
Telling me she loves me. She's so thankful for me. She's excited to get to go on the jet skis again one day, have fun, be a teenager, and then we pray.
Okay. Now, are you attending church too?
I used to.
Okay. But you're not at Cavendish Church?
No, ma'am.
Because that's
far.
Too far away.
That is far.
No problem. Now, were you in contact with Sarah after the incident happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have any concerns about Sarah leaving or running or trying to get away in any way?
No.
Okay. Did she ask you to come pick her up and take her back to Alabama and hide her or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I think that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
State any questions?
I think I just have one. When was the last time that the defendant was in Alabama at your house?
I really don't remember the date. It was the day I took her. She said she may get her phone back, and I took her that day. And then I took her to Wedowee. We were going to have a sleepover, and then we got the phone call that she needed to come back home.
Okay, so if I were to tell you that she was arrested July 9th, you would say it's sometime in the days just before that?
July 8th.
July 8th.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No further questions, John.
All right, any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
Not
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Tasha Meza.
Tasha Meza?
M-E-Z-A. She's outside, I believe.
Ms. Williams, how many more witnesses do you have?
This is the one?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more.
Okay. You're going to come up here and you'll walk around that area here and then come up. I'll give you some direction once you're up here. All right, you'll come on and remain standing and raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the statements you give before the court today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so be God. All right, you may be seated. If you would, speak loudly and clearly to that microphone. And let's start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court reporter.
Tasha Meza, Tasha. That's a M-E-Z-A.
Thank you.
Ms. Meza, how do you know Sarah Grace?
I met Sarah after me and Kristin became friends. I was at the doctor's office and just invited her to church. And then we became really good friends.
And when you say church, are you talking about the Catalyst Church?
Yep.
Where Pastor Ben is the pastor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you invited them to church, did they ever come?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, they come.
And did they continue to come after that?
Every Sunday.
To your knowledge, were they involved in activities throughout the week or just Sunday service?
At first, it just started as Sunday service, and then as they grew in the church, they became more involved.
Now, were you able to observe and spend time with and have a relationship with Sarah Grace personally?
Yes, her and my daughter were friends, so I've seen them quite often.
And so, since you go to the Catalyst Church, I'm assuming you stay local, somewhere close by?
Yeah, I only stay about 2 minutes from the church.
2 minutes from the church. So, 7 minutes from here, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. And At any point, okay, so let me ask you this. You would have, when did you meet Kristin?
It was back in August.
Okay. Of last year?
Yes.
And when you met her, during that time, how often would you say that you had occasion to spend with her and Sarah?
For the beginning of the part, we just stayed on the phone mainly, and then as we grew closer, we went to birthday parties and cookouts and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it was a few times.
But would you agree that most of the time you spent with at church?
Yes.
Now, did you hear Pastor Ben testify?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit. He indicated that he and the church would be willing to facilitate Sarah in any way if Judge Hightower were to give her a bond. Are you do you share that sentiment?
I agree.
And would you be willing to be a part of Sarah's village to help facilitate her here in Carrollton in some way?
I've already been a part of it, so I'm not going to stop now.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
State, any questions?
Nothing to the
All right, you're good. Any reason to hold the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing to say.
All right, you can be excused.
My last witness is Ms. Shavina Rogers.
Attorneys, can y'all approach just a minute? Give me just 1 second. You're good. Come on up. Just had to ask a question. If you would raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. And if you would, same as the others, once you're seated, just state your name and spell it from a court reporter, please.
My name is Shavina Rogers, spelled Shaveena. Last name Rogers, Rogers.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Rogers, how are you employed?
I'm employed by the state of Georgia at the Georgia Public Defender Council.
And what's your job title?
I'm a criminal defense investigator.
And are you a criminal defense investigator for a media mob?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And have you been working on this case in my direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you recall me asking you to run a GCIC on Sarah Grace Patrick?
Yes.
And would you briefly explain what a GCIC is?
GCIC is a Georgia Criminal Investigation Center, and is ran by the GBI, the Georgia Bureau Crime System. And what I do is for each client, I run their CCH, client or witnesses of each case, I run their CCH, and that's their computerized criminal history.
Okay. And did you do that for this case?
I did.
Yes, ma'am.
I am showing you what's been marked as Defensive Bond Exhibit 1. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
It's Sarah Grace Patrick's criminal history record.
Okay, and is that the criminal history record that you ran for me?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the report that you received once you put it into a computer?
Yes.
Has it been changed or altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Since you admit Defense Bond Exhibit 1.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted.
Now, when you ran that GCIC or criminal history on Sarah Grace Patrick, was there any return?
Just one.
Okay. And what was that return?
What we are here for today, the same case number.
Okay. And would that indicate to you that she had not been arrested in the state of Georgia for anything else?
No prior criminal history.
Okay. Now, in the course of also investigating this case, have you talked to witnesses, I'm sorry, not witnesses, people who wanted to stand in support of Sarah?
I have.
And were you sent emails of letters about their support?
Several of them, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Williams, while he looks at that, on the GCIC, since it's been admitted, have you redacted any personal information that's on there? Because what we may need to do, I haven't seen it yet, but sometimes there's personal identifying information that needs to be redacted.
I have not. I can provide the court with a redacted copy.
Okay, either that or we can get my clerk to black it out.
That would be fine.
Okay, all right. State, I'm assuming no objection to making those redactions. I think those would be appropriate.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Rogers, I'm showing you what's been marked, and sorry again for the jump around on numbers. As defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Do you recognize those?
Give me a second. I do.
And what are they?
These are character witnesses letters that were sent for Sarah Patrick.
And did you receive those in your email?
I did.
Your state issued email address?
Yes, ma'am.
And have they been changed and altered in any way since you received them in that form?
No, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, did you run those copies for me?
I did.
For today?
Yes.
Okay. C to admit defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9.
Any objection from the state? All right, they'll be admitted.
Now, with those letters, I don't know if the court prefers if Ms. Rogers were to read them or if the court could read them at your meeting.
I'll read them.
Okay. All right, you'll hand those to...
In the GCIC first. Thank you.
Now, during the course of me asking you to do some investigation on this case, were you able to determine if Sarah Grace was working before she was arrested?
She was working at Subway.
Okay. Was that Subway in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes.
And were you able to speak to her supervisor?
I was put on hold. They seemed very busy. I had to call multiple times for someone to even answer the phone.
At any point, did you get a letter from her supervisor?
Yes.
And was that letter one of those letters that we just entered into evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that letter in support of Sarah Grace?
Yes.
Now, the GCIC that you ran, and I'm double back into that, did it indicate that Sarah Grace had a driver's license?
No.
Right, I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
No problem.
State, any questions?
Just a couple of them.
Okay.
As part of your investigation, did you look into any other areas where the defendant lived over the past 5 years?
I didn't. I spoke with family members, but that's about it.
You don't know what other areas she was living in over the past 5 years?
I believe she was living in Fairburn at one point, Sonoya, Georgia at one point.
Fairburn, Sonoya?
Yes.
Those are the only two other than Carrollton that you're aware of?
Yes.
Did you look into the alternative school that she attended?
I did not.
Can you pull up that GCIC one more time for me?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And can you just tell me what the charges she currently has in this case are?
2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
I don't have any other questions.
No problem.
Can you follow up?
Nothing further.
You can sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Defense?
That's all for witnesses, John. Reserved for argument.
Okay. State, you're going to be up next, but if you're going to give me just a few minutes, let me read through these letters. Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the guy in blue, that's the father to Kristin, and then he's surrounded by people that support Sarah. Interesting dynamic. It's an interesting dynamic in that courtroom. They're not separated, you know. They're not on one side or the other. And my question goes back to, you know, what if, you know, would you be supporting Nick? Would you have I support Nick going to Rob and Michelle's hearing, or I support Charlie, you know, going to Charlie Manson bond hearing? Like, what do you guys think about that? I think for the sake of neutrality, I would probably say no shirts of either on either side. I think that's just to support neutrality. Because, right? I don't know. Because that theoretically that would offend the person on the other side. Like, how does Kristin's dad feel about all these people that are supporting her? Granted, she's just accused; she's not convicted yet, but. Terry Trial Watcher. Oh, cool. So this is going to be local to you? Very cool. If anybody local is in the chat and you guys are going to go to the trial, let us know. Drop us an email, and you could be our insider court watcher. We'd love to hear from you. You can call in afterwards. Give us the scoop. That'd be really cool. I agree. Having said that, there's no jury. Understood. It's not for the jury though. It would be for the Pammy. It would be for, well, that's Kristin's dad, and he's surrounded by people that support this woman who he possibly thinks shot and killed his daughter. Like I'm saying, it'd be like you know you're there for Sharon Tate, and then there's somebody sitting next to you saying I support Charlie. You know, it's just odd. That's what I'm saying. I think in the sake of neutrality, just not have that at all. Or if you're friends of Rob Reiner, and then there's somebody sitting next, to you saying I support Nick. Well, I guess in his case you feel sorry. I don't know. It's just weird. I guess I would just say, for the sake of neutrality, just don't have any support. Don't show support one way or the other. You know. We won't know unless, and if the dad, Kristin's dad is right there. So, yeah, if there's any people that are local and you guys have a chance to go to this, please let us know. And if you feel up to being our inside the court eyeballs, we would love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you. State.
The state has three individuals that we'd like to call pursuant to the Victims' Bill of Rights. The first is going to be Kim Bowl. And Judge, all three are going to come up and be prepared statements.
All right.
You will not be prepared statements.
Okay. You raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
You'll proceed to speak clearly and loudly in that microphone. You'll start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kim Bowling, K-I-M.
No. Let me tell you. It's the same as that young girl that was stuck. You take your time. Right? We're not in a rush this morning. So take a deep breath and take your time.
B-O-W-L-I-N-G.
Ms. Bowling?
Yes.
Can you go ahead and tell us how you related to this case?
Jamie is my brother, my only brother I have left, my only sibling I have had.
Like the judge said, you take your time. What do you think the judge needs to know about what's going on with you and your family?
I have something to read. Your Honor, my name is Kim Bowling, and I'm Jamie's sister. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Since this tragic day, my brother Jamie and his wife Kristin were taken from us, I have become their voice as they no longer have one. I would like to share how this brutal tragedy has affected me. I not only lost my brother, but also my sister-in-law in the most horrific way imaginable. Every night I lie awake, unable to sleep, haunted by the thought of what my brother Jamie and Kristin might have experienced in those final moments. With the possibility that they were awake when the defendant entered their room with a gun, and I imagine their terror in their final breaths. The defendant is charged with the brutal murders of my brother, Jamie, and my sister-in-law while they were lying in their bed. Shot multiple times, including both shot in the head. Excuse me one second.
Mr. Parrish, can you talk about that? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
My 5-year-old niece was then woke up to find their parents lifeless. The trauma this innocent child will carry for the rest of her life is unfathomable. And what makes this even more heartbreaking is that her sister loved the defendant. She looked up to her, and for reasons I will never understand, the defendant caused such imaginable pain. And I'm so thankful that Jaylee's life was spared. With all of this in mind, I am deeply concerned about Jaylee's safety should the defendant be released on bond. Jamie and Kristin had turned their lives around. They were actively involved in church, had found happiness, and were living a great life. They did not deserve what happened to them. I ask you, please consider the following factors when deciding whether to grant a bond. My first concern is flight risk. The defendant has financial resources provided by the immediate family, which would enable her to flee. Her family maintains that she is innocent, and given her manipulative behavior, I believe she may attempt to flee. Second concern is witness intimidation. The defendant has shown a pattern of intimidation towards family members and others with knowledge of the crime. I fear that if she's released, she will continue this behavior to silence anyone who could testify against her. My third concern is evidence. The brutality of these murders is not in dispute. My family and I have seen the death certificates, and although we are not aware of exactly how many shots were fired, we do know that there were multiple gunshots to both Jamie and Kristin. Personal safety. If the defendant can kill her own parents in such a violent manner, I fear for my own safety and the safety of my family and friends. The possibility that she could harm us is terrifying, and I urge you to consider this in your decision. I believe in our support, and I support our justice system and the hard work of Carroll County Sheriff's Office and investigators. And most importantly, I'm a Christian who believes in Jesus Christ. My prayers that justice will be served for Jamie and Kristin, and their bond will be denied for the defendant, as she has shown that she is capable of extreme violence and manipulation. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak and share my concerns. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing else for this witness?
No questions.
Any reason me to hold this witness?
No, you.
Thank you. You may step down. Stay.
Our next witness is going to be Kristin Brock.
Mr. Brock, you'll raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements you give before this court today, with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You'll be seated. Speak loudly and clearly in that microphone. Let's start with your name and then spell it for me, okay?
Yes, sir. My name is Tristan Brock, TryStenBrock.
Mr. Brock, how are you related to this case?
I am James's oldest son.
And what do you think the judge needs to hear?
Yes, sir. I put together a statement for you. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Tristan Brock. I am James's oldest son. First, I wanted to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I am here to share with the court how my life has been affected by this heinous crime. Your Honor, it feels like I'm living in a nightmare. I'm depressed. I struggle to sleep. I can't even walk through my own living room without seeing his urn and be reminded of everything all over again. I miss my father deeply. I wish I could see him again. I wish he could have met his grandson. And above all, I wish I could just hear his voice one more time. But instead now, what I have is an urn that represents memories we made and the countless memories that will never be. As a little boy, I believed my dad was the strongest Superman, that no matter what happened, he would always be there. But that belief, that dream, is now a shattered illusion. And instead of healing, I find myself reliving the shock, pain, and confusion every single day. I haven't even been able to begin to grieve. Before you make your decision regarding bond, I respectfully ask that you consider several critical factors. First and foremost, I believe the defendant poses a serious flight risk. Her family has significant financial resources and a wide support network, both of which could easily be used to help her evade law enforcement if she were released. These are not speculative concerns. They are grounded in the reality of her background and the means available to her. Additionally, based on her past behavior and what I know of her personally, I do not believe she has the integrity or accountability required to face the consequences of her actions. She has shown a willingness to avoid responsibility, and in my opinion, she would absolutely attempt to flee rather than stand trial if given the opportunity. In addition to the risk of flight, I am deeply concerned for the safety of my family. The gruesome and violent details of this case have shown me that the defendant has a disturbing lack of regard for human life. If someone is capable of what happened here, then I cannot ignore the real possibility that she could pose a threat to those of us left behind, especially if she were released on bond. This case has already caused immense pain and trauma to my family. The thought of the defendant walking free, even temporarily, only adds to our fear, anxiety, and inability to begin healing. In closing, I just want to say that this loss has left a permanent void in my life and in the lives of everyone who loved my father. He was more than a victim of a terrible crime. He was my father, a husband, a man trying to grow, to change, to build a better life. His death has caused unimaginable pain, and the emotional weight of this tragedy is something I carry with me every single day. All I ask is that the court considers this deep impact that this has had on our family and the ongoing fear, grief, and trauma we continue to live with. I speak today not out of anger, but out of heartbreak, hoping that justice will honor the life my father lived and the future he was fighting for. I urge the court to take all this into account when determining the bond and to prioritize the safety of the community and the integrity of these proceedings. Thank you for giving me the chance to be heard.
I don't have any other questions for you.
No questions.
All right. Any reason for me to hold this witness?
Yeah.
Let me step down. Thank you.
The judge said has one more witness. And that would be Kelly Brown.
Kelly Brown.
And they'll be reading a statement on behalf of the 12-year-old son of James Brock. His name is Kristin Brock, J-A-Y-E-N.
Okay. Thank you. Come on up, Ms. Brown. If you'll remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements made before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you may be seated. If you would, speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Let's start with your name and spelling, please.
My name is Kelly Brown, Kellie Brown. Your Honor, I'm speaking this morning on behalf of the 12-year-old son of Jamie Brock. He is not able to emotionally speak in front of people. He is here in the courtroom today. And so I'm just going to read you what he wrote, okay? My name is Jaden Brock, and I am 12 years old. I wanted to talk today because my dad and stepmom was shot and killed. I miss him every day. My dad was my hero and the person I looked up to the most. We did everything together. He helped me with school, and he always made me laugh, and we joked around a lot. Since he died, everything has changed. I feel sad and confused. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to focus, and it's even hard to smile sometimes. I still wait to hear his voice or see him walk through the door, but I know that will never happen again. What makes me more sad is I trusted Sarah, and I loved her like a sister. Why would she do this to me? And why would she hurt everyone like this? I don't understand why someone would do this, but I know it is not right. My dad and Kristin didn't deserve this. No one does. And I don't think someone who could do something like this should be allowed to go free right now. I wouldn't feel safe, and I would be so scared. Please think about what my family is going through. I hope you make a decision that protects us and remembers who my dad was. A good man, a loving dad who didn't deserve to die. Thank you for listening to me. And that's his statement.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions for you.
Ms. Brown, how are you related to the family or this situation?
I am not related to the family. I grew up with Kim, and I've known Jamie since he was 2.
Okay, friends with Kim and Jamie?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you present when that statement was written, or was it just handed to you?
No, I was not present, no. It was written by Jaden, his mom, and Kim helped. I was just asked to read it.
Okay. And they told you that he prepared it?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that nothing in the letter says that Sarah Grace was a threat to Jaden when they were living together?
He never expressed that to me, ma'am. I would agree with that.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Nothing else, Judge.
Any reason to hold this witness, even though she's speaking on someone else's behalf?
None from the state.
All right, you can step down. Thank you.
No other witnesses for the state judge, only argument.
All right. I'm ready for argument.
Thank you, Judge. Just to kind of round out the record a little bit, we're talking about the incident that occurred February 20th of 2025. The arrest date of the defendant was July 9th of 2025. Since we are operating under 1511-560, that's the concurrent and original jurisdiction in Superior Court, the individual charged in this case was a minor at the time. The rules dictate a specific time frame for us. We have 180 days to indict this case where it goes back to juvenile court. We have 90 days to indict, or a bond is required, same as any other defendant here. Because we are looking at Iology State, that's 262 Georgia 704, and in that case, the court has given us some guidelines as to what we should be looking at in regards to issuing a bond in this case that was codified in 1761 as well. First is that the defendant poses no significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear when required. Judge, we've heard from multiple witnesses that flight is a concern for the family. There are considerable assets on the other side of the victim's family. One thing that the court is permitted to consider in regards to flight, and really in all the factors, is the seriousness of the offense. Coleman v. State, that's Colemon v. State. That's a 361 Georgia App 901. It's a 2021 case. But it cites all the way back to the mid-70s that it is absolutely acceptable for the court to consider the seriousness of the offense. Because we don't just have a murder case here. We don't just have a double homicide. We have a double homicide of the defendant's mother and stepfather. I don't know that cases get more serious than what we are looking at here. That's something that you should consider for each of the 4 IR factors. As pertains to flight, there was testimony that flight is a concern for the victim's family. It's a concern for the state as well. This defendant has moved around quite a bit over the past few years. She has roots here in Carroll County, no doubt. She also has roots in Coweta. She has roots all over the state and in Alabama. Number 2, the defendant poses no significant threat or danger to any person, to the community, or to any property in the community. The family is genuinely afraid. I've met with a significant number of the family already. I'll be meeting with just about everybody else later on this afternoon. The family is genuinely afraid on the Brock side of the family tree. They are fearful that she will reach out. They are fearful for their own safety and the safety of all the other members of that family. The defendant poses no significant risk of committing any felonies pending trial. Judge, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, but I think there is some inherent risk in that as well. One of those felonies ties into that significant threat or danger to any person. If she is to lash out violently at one of the other family members, that would be a felony. Number 4 is the defendant poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. And it was pointed out that there is concern that the defendant would be able to influence, I'm going to use the term influence instead of intimidating, influence the 6-year-old who is a primary witness to this case. There's significant concern from the state in that regard. There's significant concern from the family members in that regard. We've heard terms like manipulation, lack of integrity, lack of accountability. Those are terms that we heard here in court today. And that is in line with what we've heard about this defendant all along. When you started, you said this is a simple application of the law. That's what we're talking about here. The state has shown that there is a significant flight risk. We've heard that from witnesses in regards to that aspect of IALA. Significant threat or danger to the community, particularly them. Risk of intimidating witnesses, and that significant risk of committing any felony. That would include influencing a 6-year-old. That would include reaching out and threatening family members. That may, depending on the circumstances, include flight to another county or another state. We just think that at this point, this defendant is a poor candidate for bond, and bond should be denied as such.
Thank you. Defense.
Thank you, Judge. I will respond in turn to the state's argument and then go into what it is that we have specifically for Sarah Grace. As it relates to the seriousness of the offense, we agree that the offenses are serious. What's happened here is a tragedy on both sides. And while that is something for the court to consider, it is not one of the IAL factors. We understand that the state has brought the Brock family here to voice their concerns. But what is particularly alarming to me is that they have not considered the Nolan side of the family, which would have been Kristin's family. And Kristin's family sits in support of Sarah Grace. And so there are two victims here. While there are victims on the Brock side of the family who voice their concerns for their safety, there are victims of family members who are on the Nolan side of the family who have not voiced that same concern. As a matter of fact, they're here in support of her and willing to have her live with them. The grandfather, who is Kristin's father, Sarah Grace's father, all can live, Sarah Grace can live with them. Multiple people have said that Sarah Grace was invited into their home and they're not even family. So they're willing to have her be a part of their household. With that being said, as far as the influence or threat of influence, as the state puts it, of the 6-year-old sibling of Sarah Grace, there are means for the court to avoid that contact. If the child, I don't even know that the child is 6. I think the child may still be 5 and have not yet turned 6. But I don't know this, but there's not a cell phone for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. The court could restrict that contact just like the court does in any other case where there is alleged to be some witness where there could be influence. The court could say, I order that there is no contact between Sarah Grace and her younger sibling or any of her siblings for that matter. That can be remedied if that is in fact a concern for the court. What we have shown through our witnesses, Your Honor, is that Sarah Grace does in fact meet the requirements of the statute in that the court shall be authorized to release a person on bail if they find that they pose no significant risk of fleeing the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear in court when required, no significant threat or danger to any person in the community or any property, no significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, and no risk of intimidating witnesses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. As it relates to the financial resources of the family, there has been no testimony as to what those resources are. Just that the Brock family believes that the Nolan family or Kristin's family has these grand resources in some regard that could assist Sarah Grace in being a flight risk. If that were the case, Your Honor, again, I remind the court that the incident took place in February and she had gone to visit the Jensen household in Alabama between that February and July time period. If, for some reason, there was to be this enlightenment that I should run, there was ample opportunity at that time. Caitlin testified that that Sarah Grace had never asked her to hide her or take her to Alabama permanently or anything like that. In addition, there was testimony as well as documents for the court admitted into evidence that Sarah Grace does not have a driver's license and that it would be better if she not drive. And she doesn't have her own personal vehicle or access to a car. And so the flight risk for a 17-year-old at this stage with no driver's license and no meaningful way to get around in that regard to be this significant flight risk, I think just isn't met. As it relates to a threat or danger to any person in the community, nobody indicated that Sarah Grace was a threat or a danger prior to this incident happening. And what we know is that hindsight is 20/20, and they're looking back on what they believe happened, and we assert Sarah Grace's innocence, and she is presumed to be innocent as she sits before the court, is that they're looking back saying, if she's capable of doing this, then she must be a threat. But that does not muster what is required to be a significant threat or danger. There's no indication that she has access to any firearms further. The court could order that she not have access or touch or be around or in the home with any firearms or anything like that. As it relates to a significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, that is typically put into the mix when there is a significant criminal history. Investigator Rogers testified that there was no criminal history before Sarah was arrested for these crimes, and there was no, there was documentation as to the GCIC that was admitted in defense bond exhibit 1. In addition to that, Your Honor, she poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice, other than Ms. Brock's feeling that she may be an intimidation to the 6-year-old. There's been no evidence, no testimony about there being any type of intimidation that has gone forward from this. Just that they believe she may be manipulative. And I understand that emotions are high, and that's what the Brock family believes. But again, I remind the court that the Brock family is not the only victim's family. There is the Nolan family as well, who do not share those same sentiments. Your Honor, in addition to those IALA factors that are in subsection E1 of the statute, there is subsection E2 of the statute that requires that Your Honor consider the purpose of bail. And we have the purpose of bail is given to us in IALA, which is the purpose of pretrial bond is to prevent punishment before a conviction and to secure appearance in court. There is no indication that Sarah Grace would not be here for any appearances in court. She has several people who are willing to bring her, who testify that they would be in charge of that. And also to prevent the punishment before a conviction. Again, IALA that the state cited is very clear that the most fundamental premise of our criminal justice system is that a person ought not be punished for a criminal offense until the state demonstrates guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. IALA goes further to say that unless the right to bail before trial is preserved, the presumption of innocence secured only after centuries of struggle would lose its meaning. So that is the purpose of pretrial bond, is to preserve that presumption of innocence, which Sarah Grace enjoys at this moment. She is cloaked in the presumption of innocence, unless and until the state can prove her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That beyond a reasonable doubt standard is not met at this bond hearing. I know that the state only has the burden of persuasion in this bond, and we have the burden of production. We have met our burden of production, Your Honor. As it relates to her ties to the community, I do want to call the court's attention to Dunn v. Edwards, and that is 275 Georgia 458. It is a Supreme Court decision.
275 Georgia
258. I have a
Thank you.
Copy for the court, if I may approach.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And that discusses what is required as to the burden of production on the defense as to ties to the community. In a murder case, the defendant was charged with malice murder. And the court in this case said that there was a failure of the defense to satisfy that initial burden because the only testimony presented at the bond hearing on the issue of the defendant's ties to the community came from the investigating officer who only testified that the defendant lived in Athens, and that was it. There was no evidence that the defendant had continuously lived in Athens for any significant period of time and had any significant involvement with family, friends, or institutions in the community, that he had a job history or that he had a reputation for reliability. Here, the defense has presented those things. So we present done in juxtaposition or in a distinguishing way, and that we have produced several witnesses, 6 to be exact, as well as 8 letters of support showing her ties to community through family, friends, also institutions in the community. We have the Catalyst Church, the pastor of that church, coming to speak on behalf of Sarah Grace, saying that they would be willing in any way to facilitate her being able to get bond, whether that meant staying there, facilitating somewhere for her to stay. Ties to the community for a juvenile is a bit tricky, for lack of a better term. A juvenile has to go where their parents make them go. And I think that is, if there is a concern about Sarah Grace moving around, there being middle school in East Coweta, and then her from 9th grade on going to Central High School, which would be a 4-year period here in Carrollton. That concern should be tempered with her being a juvenile at the time and her having to move wherever parents would have her to be. So that is the demonstration of ties to the community. Any risk to the community, I point the court's attention to Crickmore v. State, and I provided the court as well as the state copy. And that's 327 Georgia Act 368. It's a Georgia Court of Appeals case where they talk about, they do an interlocutory review of denial of pretrial bond for this client, and that there was not testimony regarding their ties to the community, and that there were multiple convictions of that defendant for driving under the influence, and then there was proper evidence of 3 previous convictions for the same thing. I present that in distinction and in juxtaposition. So what we have here with Sarah Grace is that she has absolutely no criminal history and is therefore not a risk to the community and not a risk to reoffend. Again, what has happened here is, in fact, a tragedy, and we are sorry for what has happened, but we assert and lean upon the presumption of innocence that is required by our justice system. In this case, bond denial is not proper, Your Honor. We have met the IALA factors. We have met our burden of production through both testimonial and admitted evidence. And I also want to relate to the court that the court not only has whether or not there's a bond amount set for bond, but the court also has other tools in its toolbox and can impose conditions or a combination of conditions in order to make sure that Sarah Grace is not a flight risk or risk to the community or anything like that. The court can impose conditions such as no social media or phone or phone privileges, ankle monitor, house arrest. The court has all of those tools in its toolbox to ensure that her presence is secured, and also that if she's on house arrest or has a curfew or ankle monitor, that she's not somewhere she can be. Technology is a beautiful thing, and what we have now is a GPS system that can tell you exactly where a person is at all times. And so through the courts, that can be ordered, and there can be those conditions placed on the bond. In addition to that, Your Honor, because of her age, Ms. Patrick is being held in solitary confinement at the jail because the Sheriff's Department is concerned about putting her into general population. Courts have struggled with whether prolonged stays in solitary is constitutional or violative of the 8th Amendment, especially in young people. So I just want to present that for the court's consideration as well. Again, I ask this court to protect the presumption of innocence. Based on everything that's been presented here today in court, not just the seriousness of offenses, not just this arbitrary concern that all of a sudden now people may be in danger, looking in hindsight, but based on real witnesses and testimony and presented documentation that Sarah Grace Patrick is a candidate for bond. You know, Your Honor, this profession requires that we not only struggle with doing the right thing, which is what society says is right at the moment, but we must also do what is right, and that is the notion of justice. And the just thing and what is right in this case will be granting Sarah Grace Patrick pretrial release.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anything else, Ms. State?
Just very briefly, Judge, to point out a couple just factual issues that I want to be clear for on the record. Our office, as we do in every case, did reach out to the victim's family on both sides. It is my expectation that I will be meeting with the Nolan family later on this afternoon, as soon as we are done here in court, to talk to them. They are victims in our case as well. We have a different posture in terms of the guilt of the defendant, but that is something that we do with every single case. So the fact that the line has kind of been drawn in the sand, the state must reach across that line either way, then we would do it even if we weren't statutorily required. I know that they are victims in this case. They are hurting, and we will do everything we can to help them as well. Judge, as pointed out by opposing counsel, Ayala v. State is the case on point. And opposing counsel is correct that their burden generally, to kind of put a very simple, broad brush on it, is that they are to only really proffer towards the community ties. They've done that. I don't doubt that she has ties to the community. I don't doubt that the defendant has people who care about her. She has a flight list. We need to specify that they own so much land and that they have different business holdings. We don't. The testimony is clear that they have the assets to send her out of state or even to far away places farther than that if it was necessary. She is a flight list. That is the state's position. She is a flight list. And the other factors that we've talked about, the family is genuinely afraid. We always operate in hindsight in cases like this. No one ever knows that someone is violent until they are violent. That's why the family is scared at this point, is because now, in their eyes, the defendant has shown her true self, who she really is. So, of course, they would be fearful now than they would be beforehand. We did hear some testimony regarding disciplinary issues and the fact that this individual has had to attend an alternative school. This was a loving family. This was a caring family. They were working with her to get her into a position where she could have a fruitful life, and we ended up where we ended up. As far as the issues regarding what's going on in the jail, that's an issue for the sheriff's office. I know that they are prioritizing her safety at this point. I don't think it will be forever that she is in isolation. And as far as all the other factors, Judge, I just think that when you apply the law to all of the testimony that we heard here today, she's just not a good candidate for bond at this point. She is a flight risk. There's risk to intimidate witnesses. The state has met its burden as well. We just think that this individual should be denied bond at this point.
All right. Thank you. All right. While I consider this, I do want to say, Ms. Williams, right?
Yes, sir.
You've not been in front of me before, and Mr. Parrish, I believe this is one of your times performing in front of me as well. I commend both of you for being professional, and I look forward to working through this case with both of you.
Thank you.
To address just a couple of things, Pastor Bonner mentioned that we are the jury, and we are not the jury. My job as a judge is simply to make sure that the law is followed and that court is done in a fair and just manner. That's my role, to make sure that everyone follows the law and that everyone stays within the rules, and I make sure that that's done. We are not the jury. And as of right now, Ms. Williams did correctly state the law that this is not the trial, and it is not the burden to prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt today. That is not what we are. And for those that are here, I don't want y'all to misunderstand and confuse the burdens and think that's where we're at today, because that is not where we are. On a motion for bond, defense has a burden of coming forward initially with evidence to show that the defendant does not pose a significant risk of fleeing, threatening the community, committing another crime, or intimidating a witness. And then it is the state has the burden of persuasion in convincing this court that the defendant is not entitled to pretrial release. The state has the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence that the trial court should deny bail or bond. And there's a vast difference in beyond a reasonable doubt and preponderance of the evidence. Preponderance of the evidence is essentially greater than 50%, or it's just a greater likelihood than the other side. That is vastly different than beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I need everyone to understand that. My job is to evaluate the witnesses, weigh their credibility as they testify before me, and apply what the witnesses have said and apply their credibility to the law the best I can. Make sure that I've covered what I needed to and what I've heard from several folks. All right. With that being said, and listening to the witnesses here, if I weigh these witnesses' testimonies and I weigh what I hear today, I believe those closest, and I say closest, in family relationship, expressed that they had vast concerns that she would have the ability to flee, that she would be a danger to the community, that she would be a danger to them, that she would pose a significant risk of intimidating, or actually I think the state steered away from intimidating, or influencing or manipulating witnesses. By finding that, I find the state has met their burden today by a preponderance of the evidence. And Miss Patrick, because of that, I'm bound by the law, and I do not believe that you would be a proper candidate for bond at this time. With that being said, here's what I want to tell you. Very recently, the Judicial Council of Georgia recognized our court as being a clearance rate excellence award recipient, which means that we are very up to date on our cases and we take great pride in moving cases quickly. I do not want anyone to sit in jail unnecessarily. So what I would like to do is go ahead and give you future court dates. And I'll explain this, Ms. Williams, a little bit, because again, I know you're new to being in front of me, but I would like to go ahead and give you some future dates for your case. Obviously, your case has to be indicted first. All right, that's the first process. Do we know when this case will go in front of the grand jury?
I'll be presenting it to the grand jury this afternoon.
All right. If the grand jury chooses to indict you, right, that would be to true bill the case. That means the case goes forward. If they choose to no bill it, then we'll cross that bridge. But if they choose to true bill, then your case will go forward. And I've asked the clerk which would be the next available arraignment that we could place her on. All right, so, and that's not the probation counter, correct? All right, so your arraignment, if true bill, okay, I'm just giving you a plan of action so that you know what's coming up, okay? If they true bill this case, your arraignment date will be 9/22. On that date, your non-jury will be 11/17. Your calendar call will be 12/16, and I will be prepared to try your case on January 5th. All right? Now, that's incredibly fast. State and defense. I'm completely aware that y'all may ask for continuance based on those time frames. I'll need y'all to do that formally. There's a lot of interest in this case from both sides, and defense was right. Justice needs to be done, and no matter what decision was made, someone is going to feel as though justice was not served today. That's just the truth. If I would have granted bond, there would have been a large group that said justice was not done. If I deny bond as I'm doing today, there's going to be a large group that says justice was not done. That I can't avoid. But what I can do is give this young lady speedy justice. And that's my purpose. Again, my role is to make sure the law is followed, and I do the best I can to facilitate that. So, I will be ready. If state or defense, if y'all have issues, because I'm fully aware that issues come up with discovery and with cases that are oftentimes are out of either of your control. And for the best interest of the state or for the best interest of your client, you may need to ask for a continuance. The state that's in my courtroom quite often, Ms. Williams, they know I'm very reluctant to give continuances. So if y'all need that, I need y'all to file a proper motion, and it's likely we'll have a formal hearing on whatever requests for continuances need to be heard, if they're needed to be heard. If not, I'm going to stick with this time frame. Again, she's in custody, so she takes priority on my trial list, as everyone knows. Also, her age. Defense, you brought to my attention that she's in isolation, so again, it's a top priority for me to move this case as quickly as possible. I would say that I would ask the sheriff office to do the best they can to acclimate her with folks, but I know that our sheriff is going to do their very best. And I can't direct them on safety, and their top priority is her safety. The same as mine is to make sure that justice is done to the best of my ability. Hers is to keep her safe. And so we'll do that. So those are the dates. Any questions, Ms. Williams or the state, about those dates?
Not from the state.
Ms. Williams?
Not a question, but more so on the statement. I did file my entry again for discovery on July 11th. And I have not received any discovery. If the state would turn over that discovery as soon as possible, I'll be ready when January comes.
Okay. It's my understanding that this office in particular has an open file policy, so I'm assuming that they're going to probably have available to you whatever they have now very quickly. And they know my practice of moving quickly, so I think they'll try to accommodate that as well. Anything else, Ms. Williams?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the state?
Nothing from the state.
All right, that'll be the order of the court. Everybody has their dates. We have a plan of attack moving forward. Hope everyone has a good day. State, I will need y'all to submit an order very fast. You can have defense review it real quick. And then more I'll get signed. I'm going to sit here until you do it. Ms. Williams, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to hang out. State's going to draft that order real fast. Let me get you to look at it, make sure you're good. Not in agreement, but just that you're good, and I'm going to sign the order.
Use your hand, that's all I
So I've been searching, trying to find, that's it, trying to find what she pled. I'm assuming she's pleading not guilty, but well, we heard the dates, September 22nd, November 17th, December 16th, which we have. So her arraignment, clearly this went in front of a grand jury, and there was enough evidence to move forward with it. I can't find anything on her arraignment, like they didn't stream any of that, which stinks. I would have liked to have seen that. So the only other thing I have is this December 16th final pretrial hearing. And I'm assuming she's pleading not guilty, but again, I can't find anything where she's officially put in a plea. So.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, so this is from just a few days ago. So let's check this out. Then we can get to like questions and stuff.
Good morning. We are ready for trial, with the exception of for candor to the court and the benefit of the state and fairness to the state. On August 19th, our office retained the services of Dr. Robert Schaefer, who is a forensic neurologist, neuropsychologist, to evaluate Ms. Patrick. He shortly thereafter, we retained him, did an initial visit with her, and then several more. There were some records that we were seeking to obtain. All in all, he's completed the evaluation, but he has not given me a formal written report. I think in all fairness to the state, after I turn over that report, I have served them with notice and with his CV, so they know that it's coming. In all fairness to them, I think that they should be able to review the report and decide if they agree with it or have some challenges to it, and be able to, in their own discretion, hire their own expert to combat what we are going to put forward and all of that stuff. And so, Your Honor, we're ready, but just wanted to let the court know that that is something that I expect the week after Christmas. If we're starting on January 5th, I don't see where that presents the state enough time to garner an expert or figure out what they're going to do with that report. But I did want to be in candor with the court and in fairness with the state.
Thank you. State, what's your name?
Thank you, Judge. That's correct. I've spoken with the defense in this matter, and at this point, the state's announcement is ready, pending that evaluation report. If the state does review that report when it comes in, then that might change the state's announcement of whether we would need more time to acquire an expert. But at this point, the state is announcing ready, and in the future, we can address that matter if it becomes a problem.
And in addition, Your Honor, and the court is aware, there are still some outstanding motions. So I guess my announcement, he is ready subject to motions.
I want to say that I'm very pleased at the dedication that both state and defense have placed in this case. I know, as well as anybody who's familiar with the court system, I put a very rigorous time schedule on this case. And both of you, both state and defense, have gone above and beyond to accommodate that. And I know that's not easy. On the day that I originally set this, I said outside of some discovery issues that may come up, this case will stay on. And y'all were kind enough to have multiple conference calls with my office. And we've had multiple discussions about this case throughout the past few months, making sure that everything stayed on track. And so I greatly appreciate that effort. So my understanding is that both sides are ready, with the understanding that that could all change once this report comes in. Once this report comes in, depending on what it says, defense, you believe that in order for the state to be properly prepared, they may need more time.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And state, you're agreeing that in order for you to be prepared, depending on what this report says, you may need more time.
That's correct.
And so I will not know whether or not I need to continue this case out of an obligation of fairness and justice until probably just a few days prior to this case coming to court. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, Judge.
Yes, Judge, that's my understanding.
The only issue that develops is that I know that each of you have witness lists. And there's expenses that usually go out with witnesses and scheduling experts that y'all both have. Is this how you wish me to proceed? Because right now, you're going to have to go in as we're fully ready, which I think we are. Outside of this report, which is no one's fault, that it's going to come in where it is. Sometimes that's just discovery. Is that where y'all want to be?
Judge, I believe it's the position of the state. That's where we want to be at this point. We are already subject to that evaluation, and whether we would need an expert to combat that or not is unknown at this time.
Okay.
Well, we'll be ready, Your Honor.
All right. Then we'll set it down for the case is set for January 5th. We will proceed on schedule. If something comes up, I believe both of you know that I'm very accommodating to a conference call. You don't need to contact my office and let me know that you've discovered there is an issue that's around this report. just get in touch with my office as quickly as possible, and we'll try to get that resolved as fast as we can.
Yes, Judge.
Outside of that, we'll be ready on January 5th.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right. So that's not the defense's fault. That's not the defense's fault. They hired a neuropsychologist, and that person evaluated Sarah Grace, and now they're waiting for the report to come back, and the report's going to come back after Christmas, and then after they read it, they're going to give it to the state, and then the state has to decide, okay, well, we need an expert to counter that. So I don't see that as the defense's fault. They hired somebody. You can only go as fast as that expert will allow you to go, and they're ready. They're ready to go, and the state may say, yeah, no problem. We have enough evidence. We don't need an expert, or they may be like, okay, we do need an expert, and there may be a continuance. So we will be ready. We'll be ready January 5th, and we'll keep an eye out and see if there's going to be a continuance, or if they'll be okay and they're going to go to trial on the 5th. So Joanne says they should have hired Rex. Exactly. Lily Wayne, it will be interesting to see the judge in a trial. Yeah, I like this judge. Hightower, right? Judge Hightower? Dustin Hightower. I mean, he seems like a cool guy. He seems fair. He seems, allowing both sides to have, speak, he doesn't shut anybody down. If anything, he might be too fair in the sense of allowing those, supporter shirts. You could argue that he might be a little bit too fair or a little bit too lenient. Maybe other judges would say no shirts allowed like that. But all right, isn't that fun, Sharon? What did I say? I know Hightower for sure. Dustin Hightower. And court-appointed defense attorney, court-appointed Latoya Williams. I'm not sure what the other woman's name was. And then Michael Parrish. There's at least 2, maybe 3 prosecutors, but we have Michael Parrish. We'll have to get the other names. But yeah, great name for a judge, Lily Wayne says. So yeah, interesting. Judge Hightower. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so I would really have loved to see her arraignment. I'm looking up, what did she plead? Clearly she pled not guilty, but I can't find anything definitive where she entered a plea. I would love to have seen her arraignment, because that's when she enters her plea. So that was not streamed, or if it was, I can't find it. So that's a bummer. So Justice Hightower running for judge. We will see what the actual trial is like. Iowa, the girl in court versus the thumbnail is like looking at 2 different people. 100%. 100%. Yep. Running with scissors. You're writing a book and going to use this judge for a character? Nice. Yeah, JMS. Same with Courtney Clenny. 2 completely different people. Absolutely. Yeah, you look at Courtney Clenny, anywhere before she was arrested, and then now you look at her, yeah, way different. Shirley Hightower, I think of the guy that played in Psycho, the TV show. I'm not familiar with that one. They must have evidence, but we just don't know enough to judge yet. Arwen says, who is Carly Gregg that posters are posting about? She shot her mom, and then she shot at her stepdad, I think, right? And he survived, but she shot her mom, and it was caught on, well, not the shooting, but there was video inside the house, surveillance inside a house of her. We started to cover that trial, or we were going to. I forget, something got in the way of that. I forget why we didn't. We were going to cover that, and then something happened that we didn't cover it, and I can't remember right now. Oh, and then she called her friend or friends, and she said, "Hey, you want to come over and see a dead body?" And it was her mom. So, yeah, he just got shot I think Carly Gregg. We're talking about Carly Gregg. She shot at him and it grazed him or something like that. Yeah, we started to watch it. Something happened. Shirley. I forget why. Why something happened. All right. My steel trap mind of a wife can't remember either. So something happened that we stopped covering it. Yeah, then called her friend, said, "You want to see a dead body?" It was either a friend or two friends. And her stepfather was in favor of her. Yeah, Camille, pretty sure stepdad was in favor of her. Yep, agreed. Oh, you thought, no, Carly Gregg. Yeah, Carly Gregg. Play on crime. Hightower sounds more like a detective hero, right? I'm Hightower, Dustin Hightower. Skybell, yeah, that video, yeah, she looks at the camera, I think. She gets the gun. Remember, there's dogs running around too. I can't quite remember all the details, but yeah. Stepdad testified in her defense. JP Rabbit says, yeah. Yep. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of all this? I know there's a lot to digest here. I was interested to hear what they said, that she may have had, if she was indeed did this, that she may have had help. That was the one thing that popped into my mind, that she may have had help. Like, wow. Interesting. Hola. Good to see you. Maybe she hasn't entered her plea yet. Was she due to enter it this week? No, the arraignment was back in September. It went to the grand jury August 19th. Don't forget that thing we just watched was from August 19th. And it was going to the grand jury that day. And then her arraignment, if they found enough evidence, then her arraignment was going to be September 22nd. And then he talked about 11/17, November 17th, there was another hearing, and then December 16th, which was a couple days ago, 2 days ago now, that was going to be her final hearing, and that's what we just watched. So I'm assuming she put in a plea at some point. Well, she must have put in a plea at the arraignment, which would have been September 22nd. I looked it up and I couldn't find it. So I'm assuming that she pled not guilty. We'd have to. I'm guessing she pled not guilty. So yeah, Saudi girl, Erin watched that, and yeah, Erin watched it. She said the audio was terrible. Mickey, the deputy who shot the judge, audio was terrible, and it was like 2 seconds. So we were going to cover it. We were going to jump onto that, but yeah, it was audio was terrible, and that's why we're not going to do it. We're not going to cover it. Play on crime. Would love to know if there's a law enforcement interview. Yep, definitely. Lily Wayne, what was the YouTube show about? Oh, Charlie. Yeah, who's yeah, what is it? What's the movie? Charlie movie. Being Charlie. Being Charlie. So called Being Charlie. Apparently it's on YouTube. Being Charlie. So, yep. Being Charlie. Being Charlie. So, yep. There you go. Being Charlie. Everybody's got it now. Being Charlie. I was going to say it's something about Charlie. No, that's something about Mary. Aaron says, between the audio being muted for half of those 3 minutes. Yeah, so it seems like that was a big bust. Yesterday, mental illness was brought up with which trial? Which Which trial? Yes, being Charlie. Being Charlie. Being Charlie. So it was released in 2016. Apparently it's on YouTube. It was directed by Rob. He wrote it with, Nick wrote it with Matt Elisaphan. And it was screened in Toronto in 2015. It's based on Nick's experience following his heroin addiction and homelessness. Charlie is a troubled addict who has been in and out of rehab for years. On his 18th birthday, he walks out of a youth rehab facility in rural Utah and throws a rock through a stained glass window of the facility's chapel, which I believe he did. I think Nick did that as well. Hitchhiking, Charlie is picked up by a man and his sick mother. The man agrees to drop him at a bus station after taking her home. However, he discovers Charlie has stolen his mother's oxy-cancer painkillers. He throws him out of the truck. So it just kind of goes on and on and on. He drives to LA. His parents stage an intervention. So kind of seems like a biography almost. So yeah, I want to check that out as well. So Saudi Girl, it's on YouTube. Yeah. Requested search on YouTube. It's in your feed since then. Yeah. Being Charlie pulled up on your feed. Yeah, your phone knows what I talk about for sure. All right. It's billed as a comedy. Well, it says he ends up pursuing a career in stand-up, so I don't know. Yeah, worth checking out. I still have to watch. Aaron and I still have to watch the last 2 episodes of Welcome to Derry. We still have to watch that. So, all right. What's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow we're doing Shanna Gardner. So tomorrow, because what do you call it? Ian, I'm forgetting his name already. Ian Mitchum pretty much is over with, meaning streaming the trial. Well, the trial's always dark on Friday, but they've pretty much they're pretty much not streaming that trial anymore. So they pretty much stopped streaming that trial until closer to verdict. So we're going to switch over to we're going to do Shanna Gardner. That's going to be tomorrow. That's going to be an all day, full day thing. And then I think I want to do you guys when you guys were talking about when Shanda. So there's Shanna Gardner and there's Shanda Vander Ark. When she did her whatever that hearing was, where she was so sick she couldn't continue on. You guys were you guys were saying, hey, can we watch it? We haven't seen the trial. I didn't see the trial either. So I've always wanted to do that as a rewatch. So we may do that next week. Next week may be Shanda Vander Ark. And then in between Christmas and New Year, I'm not sure. We got to figure out. We have Anthony Tott. We have that as a rewatch. We have Queso. We may do Queso. Check him out. He's tied up with the Julio Fulio case, so we may do that. So Joanne says, "Welcome to Derry. You watched 10 minutes. I had to give up. Mr. Jedi, enjoy it. Too creepy for me." Yes. JMS, Nick has been in and out of rehab 17 times. Didn't he start when he was 17? I'm sorry, he started heroin when he was 15, I think. If I heard that. I think I heard that on a report yesterday. Ola, you found online a report saying they waived the arraignment in September 9th and pled not guilty. Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. Thank you for that, Ola. All right, Willow, thanks everyone. Have a great evening. Working tomorrow, so you'll pop in to show support. Very good, very good. She pled not guilty, Terry. That's what I figured. I mean, that's what we figured. Yep, Kitty in the back. We got Kitty over there. Kitty, but there's a couple of them back there actually. Let me see. I can show you. There's a couple of them climbing up there. The little monkeys. The little monkeys that we have. All right, you guys. Kitty on a tree resting behind you. They're playing. They're actually playing. Sweet. He was using way before 15. It was heroin then. I think that's what I heard, that it was heroin that he did. So, Kathy, thank you. Go feed your squirrels. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Dwayne, if you're watching, as always, if I can, a little marshmallow here. Oh, it's a good girl. Oh, it's a good girl. Yes, sweet little Super Bowl. Oh, and I got Roger over here. Look at that little face. Look at that little munchkin. That's a good boy. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We had a good day. We covered three trials, 3 cases today. So good job. Good job. Possibly JMS. I didn't notice. I didn't see. Did they set a date for Shonda? Not that I've heard of. Haven't heard that yet. But we'll check. I'll check. We'll check into that for you guys. All right. Thanks for joining us. Go out, enjoy your day, do something kind for yourself, for somebody else. It's the holiday season, and definitely take care of yourselves. We watch a lot of pretty emotional stuff, and it gets tough in here. So, but we appreciate that you guys respect each other, and we appreciate that you respect our channel, and we love you guys for that. So, thank you for that. And with that, have a great evening. Thank you to our mods, and thank you to Aaron. And we will see you guys tomorrow for Shanna Gardner. That's out of Jacksonville, Florida. And pretty interested in that case as well. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting case. Anthony, with Casey Anthony's lawyers representing her, and also Tara Kawas, who was Catherine McBanois' lawyer, is involved in that as well. So anyway, it's going to be a good one. So not the trial, but we'll do some hearings. We'll watch some hearings on that. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you to our mods again. Thank you to Aaron, and thank you guys for joining. Take care. Bye.